Welcome to the Pulse. This is Matt Odom from the Comic Hall and Round Table Discussion. And the Pulse is where we talk about pop culture news and, of course, comic books and much, much more. We're going to kick things off with a little bit of video game news tonight. The Xbox Series X is no going back to the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, according to one writer. We're going to break this down. He talks about here in the article, he talks about, of course, he can't give us the full meal deal due to embargo, of course. But he talks about in this particular article, which you can find at VentureBeat.com, he discusses how the Xbox One performs. And this is kind of sort of expected because the system is a modern system. Now, as far as gameplay-wise, he talks about the design. He also talks about the controller. But what I found interesting was the impact of the SSD drive, which is, I'm a PC gamer, and of course I have a PlayStation 4. Nothing here against the Xbox, but I will say that someone who has a PC and games heavily, an SSD drive is a lifesaver when it comes to loading games. So he discusses about the load times in Assassin's Creed Origins, Final Fantasy, No Man's Sky, and also he did some internal storage versus the Xbox One. So he's kind of tried to test the two. And take notes, which we'll see in just a second. And he talked about how also the Xbox Series X is faster to start up and navigate, and he tested it with a couple of tough games: Grand Theft Auto, Sekiro, Final Fantasy, and of course No Man's Sky. It jumped right into the game, I guess, I presume, where he did his quick resume. So. That's a good sign. He also talks about how quick it is to move games from external storage. And here are some of the times. I think this is minutes and times. I mean, just kind of look at the speed of moving from an external, to SSD, to internal. I mean, it's just kind of, just when you deal with SSD drives, it's just much quicker to get what you need to get done. Of course, I have one on my PlayStation 4. And of course, as I stated, is PC. Booting from SSD drives should naturally move quicker. So it's, there's nothing that's out of the ordinary that you wouldn't see with SSD drive. And he's saying Xbox Series X is the best place to play backwards compatible games. Let's talk about performance. The Xbox Series is much more powerful than the Xbox One X. And this is something that backwards compatible games can take advantage of, So, I'll be interested to see a lot of other games, see how they pan out. I think it's great that Xbox Series X is getting it right as far as backwards compatible games. That's one of the things that it really has over PlayStation and Sony, who just cannot seem to get that right at any cost. We look at the metrics here. We see Grand Theft Auto. Let's scroll down a little bit here. Grand Theft Auto 4 is locked in at 6 frames per second, 60 frames per second. And some of these games are not locked in at a hard cap, as he noted this earlier. So you can see here the correlation of the frames per second on Xbox One X and on the Series X. So you got 48 and 60. So you can kind of see how both are the power of both. I mean, 48 is really not that bad, but it's really not anything that you would see as a huge leap from 30 frames per second, where it's a little bit, much more of a visual leap, So, I mean, if I was buying an Xbox, I would probably go with the Series X just based off of the power of the machine. I mean, I kind of feel like, I talked to Antonio, who we cannot get on the show for some strange reason, but I talked to Antonio, who brought up a good point, that a lot of these systems are going the way of the cell phone. We're going the way of T-Mobile. We're going the way of Apple. We're going the way, we got one big phone here, then we've got a small phone, and there's no phone in between. So you really have to make that choice on which one you want. What I'm afraid is going to happen is that sooner or later, games are gonna start coming out that people are gonna want to play them at the highest capacity possible, and they're gonna end up getting the Xbox One X, but really needing a Series X down the line. That's my biggest concern with this, and also the fact of the matter is that I really just wish they would just create one system, put everything in one system, and just charge the price, and people will buy it. You know, people want it, they're gonna buy it. So I mean, we see the same thing here with No Man's Sky, where you see here 30 and 30 is locked in at the same thing. Final Fantasy, you see where the leap is here. Huge leap between the two. So, you know, Sekiro is another game that I actually play at high speed on my PC, and I can tell you if it's ran at the highest level, it is an absolutely gorgeous game. So, that is that. Let's close that out, and let's go over here to some news regarding G.I. Joe. As we see, Henry Golden confirms Snake Eyes is a reboot in the G.I. Joe franchise. So here we go again with more G.I. Joe news. For the life of me, I don't understand why they're going this route. I don't know why they're just gonna go with him and just not start. You know, all I can say is I hope it's better than the last two movies. I'll tell you that. I just hope it's better than the last two movies. And as you see here, Snake Eyes has just blown me away, says Golden. They've recreated G.I. Joe into something very cool and a far throw from what we've seen thus far on the big screen. I think there's room for many spin-offs, to be honest. This, I think, will be a launch of a brand new franchise. So, Golden inherited the Snake Eyes project. Keyword inherited the Snake Eyes Snake Eyes role from Ray Park, who played the Mute Commando in the last two G.I. Joe films. But while Park is trained in martial artist and stuntman who has experience with demanding action scenes, Golden is a different story. So I mean, basically, we got a guy who's stepping into the role who's playing PR. Oh, this is gonna be great, man. Go see it. You know, Bruce Willis. You know, all that. Don't you know? I mean, it's like I said, it has to be better than the second two movies. Otherwise, this is dead on arrival. For those interested, you might want to go pick up a couple of G.I. Joe comics. They're kind of spread out, which is a lot of people usually get the first issue, not realizing that a lot of the major issues, a lot of the major characters pop up in later issues. So that's something for you to keep in mind when you're out hunting for your G.I. Joe books. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see. This comes out in 2021, which is probably a hell of a year for movies next year. Granted, we're out of this pandemic. So I mean, we'll have to wait and see on that. We've got a first look at Javicia, if I'm pronouncing it right, Javicia Leslie as the new Batwoman, and can't be any worse than the last Batwoman. I know Lara liked it, but I mean, hey, you know, it is what it is. For those who are interested in spec, I think it is 52 week 11 is the first appearance. But Batman is back in production. There's a new hero in Gotham City. Ruby Rose's Kate Kane is gone. And in her place, Javicia Leslie's Ryan Wilder will take up the mantle. You know, it's unclear how much of the season has been filmed. Leslie has shared the first official image of Ryan as Batwoman. So, for those who are interested, you know, this will be interesting to hit in 2021. And like everything is kind of pushed back. Excuse me. Dwayne Johnson confirms Aldous Hodge is Hawkman and Black Adam. So this is going to be interesting. This was actually one of my picks for Black Panther, if they decided to fill that role. It was him and I believe John David Washington. I think this is from Tenet. I still hate that promo, man. I'm just like, every time I see something like this, I tend to think about the Scorpion King. And for everybody that's around my age know what I'm talking about. That was, this is Scorpion Kingish. So basically, earlier today, the word broke that DC knew and New Line had the eyes on Aldous Hodge to portray. This is coming from Friday, by the way. The upcoming Black Adam movie, headlined by Dwayne Johnson during the DC Fandom event. And so basically it just says that it was confirmed by The Rock. So we will see how this pans out. This weekend on the whole, I'm pretty sure we'll cover this again. And we'll talk about the spec ramifications of this particular move. Speaking of spec, let's head right on over to Cover Price to see our Monday weekly top 10. We've got Miss Marvel #1. We've got Cyberpunk, which is a book that I hate. I did not pick up. I saw this book and started to pick it up, but I did not. We've got X-Men #12. Amazing Fantasy. We've got 365. I can about guarantee this is probably because it's the newsstand edition, which is not here. Stillwater, which is a really good read. And we've also got the Autumnal. Got it? The Autumnal. The fall book is on the list. Aranya, the Heart of the Spider, is here. And we also have 361, which, you know, getting it free and getting the one slab at a 9.8 for $25 looks great every single day. We've also got first appearance of Monica Rambeau, if I'm not mistaken, here at number 10. So this is a king size Spider-Man annual. So let's see what some of these books are going for. Let's start off with Carnage. We'll see what Carnage is going for here. Bear with me here. Ooh, Carnage is $229, but the trend, it is sloping down. The graded comic, the highest recorded sale was actually yesterday at $229, so it's still going pretty heavy as of right now till it hits the screen. This is a book that if you have, I say hold on to it as long as you can. Newsstand edition. Let's see here. This looks like it's averaging around 330. So let's see here. The one thing about Cover Price I hate is that it takes a long time to load. It's because they use a lot of high resolution images on their site. I know exactly why it takes so long. Which isn't a bad thing. Yeah, 332. That was back in May. So this is the newsstand edition. If I'm not, excuse me, is this the Australian? No. This is the Australian price variant. I could be wrong here. I kind of can't. Oh, now I see. In U.S. I see Australian price difference. Wow, never even knew that existed. So, be on the lookout, man. This is still can be found in a few obscure places. Sometimes they're moved around in long boxes, so just make sure you continue to dig in those long boxes. This is one that you probably can pick up. Let's see what Miss Marvel's doing. And I'm not quite sure why this is actually peaking like this. $24.99. And this is from the 2014 series. So I'm not quite sure why this one is it's number 13. I'm not sure. See, I said number 1. Excuse me, I meant number 13. Why this is peaking so, Larry have to kind of give me some heads up on that. Cyberpunk. This is probably a $10 book now. I'm gonna take a guess. We're gonna guess $10. Boom! $16.88. Wow. This book is going up. And it seems to be going up by the day almost. Wow. Unbelievable. And I could have got, I'm sitting looking at it like I could have got both of those. Wow. Xbox 12. This is Xbox 12. X-Men 12. This is a book that I'm kind of mystified of why it's even where it is. $16, still going strong. We have to wait and see. Aranya. $15 book. Yeah. And the variant is $70. This is second print. No, it's the variant. $70. Let's go over to Amazing Spider-Man 365. This is what we call a classic 90s book right here. Most people who came through the 90s has this in their collection. So let's see here. 203. And of course, we got a couple of these. I'm not gonna click them, but you can kind of see what they're going for. All right. Stillwater, I'm gonna go $8. Let's see, $8. See if I'm right. Let's see here. $9.99. $9.99. $9.99. So, and the variant is $57.49. It's a creepy cover there, man. The autumnal. Let's see what the autumnal. Let's see what that's going for. $14.86. Wow. All right. All right. So we'll see. And last but not least, we'll see what Monica Rambeau is going for. Monica Rambeau. $379.95. Wow. I did not realize that book was that valuable. And I actually got this book, I think, for like $4. Wow. Unbelievable. Alright, well. And that is our cover price check-in for Monday's weekly top 10. Let's see what the weekly top 10. I think this is the one from last week. Nope, hadn't got that yet. So, nope, that is it. All right, well, with that, make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell all. Try to get more of these posts out. It's kind of hectic, a little demand in there, so just kind of been tied up with a lot of other things. But we'll try to get this back up and rolling. Might not be daily, but it probably once or twice a week. So make sure you subscribe to check us out. We've got more content coming for you this week. We got more hauls, and of course the comic haul and roundtable discussion on this Saturday. Also, want to give a special shout out to Stay Puff, who is going to have a birthday on tomorrow. He's going to have a bash on his channel, Stay Puff 19, celebrating. Check out the fresh haircut, and of course we're gonna make an appearance too. So, all right, we are out. Peace.